Jesse Homestead. How that are you today? Uh, this video that's coming at you is a little educational. It's like Cattle 101 on pricing and so forth. So, uh, but first, I want to do a shout out. This goes out to a channel called Mom Goes Domestic. And Nikki, matter of fact, she's the one that won the drawing here. Longtime subscriber and a wonderful person. I'm telling you now, whenever she makes a comment, there's always something. I don't care how bad of a mood I'm in. There's always something in her comment that brings a smile on my face. And with our communication back and forth from her winning the contest, I've learned her story, and it's a beautiful one. I'm telling you, it'll bring a tear to your eye. Okay, and I'm sure she's going to be sharing that with you. But I've encouraged her to get on out there and do it because, let me tell you something, she has got a family that is a little on the crazy side, which is good, and just beautiful kids. And she's a lovely person, lovely woman, who has a lot on her plate and manages to keep it all going. So she's going to be able to, show you what she's doing, and you may pick up a lot of pointers from her. But just a wonderful person, okay? Salt of the earth kind of person, really. I mean, lady you're going to want to get to know. Well, she took her channel live. And I saw the intro that she'd done, and let me tell you something. If y'all watch that intro of hers, and it doesn't bring a smile to your face, you need to get yourself on down to Walmart and buy a new smile, because yours is broken, okay? Because you kind of have to smile. Just a lovely family, lovely story, and just good people. And I think you'll be getting in on the ground floor of the next rising star on YouTube. Seriously, she's gonna be something. All right. So get on over there, Mom Gone Domestic. Put a link in. And check her out, and hit that like and subscribe button, because this woman will be blessing your heart. Okay, she truly will. And I'm there. I already subscribed. I did it before she put her video up because I knew what was coming, and I'm gonna be there watching day one. She's a tremendous person, and Danny and Wanda, whenever you see this, go check them out. You'll like her. Very good lady, and just a heartwarming story. And I'm sure she's going to get it up there for you sooner or later. She's going to get up the nerve to go, this is how it all began, and it'll touch your heart. But she's doing everything: little homeschooling, garden, raising critters, raising dogs, raises Rottweilers, things of this nature. Just a lot going on in that family. And those kids are just a blessing. I mean, you can't help but smile just watching them in action. So, and watch that oldest daughter of hers. That's her little mini me. And you can see it in that child's eyes. She's probably a handful. So, good family. Good family. Well worth your time and your energy. Stop on by there. Like I said, as of the recording of this, all she has up is the introduction, but even the introduction will bring a big smile to your face. And she told me she was going to use that gift card, and that's going to be one of her first videos of what she bought with her prize. And I'm looking forward to that. I think that'd be great. That way we all get to see if she put that to use, So I know she's got it. She did confirm that she did receive it. So be looking for that too. But I'm telling you what, this girl's going to be a blessing out here on YouTube. You need to get in there and welcome her. Because she's a little nervous. Okay, but she's going to do just fine because she's a real person. She's not. You're not going to have to worry about any plastic storytelling out of that girl. You're you're going to get it straight. Okay. And she's a wonderful person. So stop on by there and you visit her channel. And like I said, I'll put a link in down here to it. Great lady, great family. Like I said, you're going to see great things out of it. And she told me that the kids want to really be involved. And man, I'll tell you what, those kids look like they could turn your world upside down. Okay, so you'll enjoy it. Definitely stop by, like and subscribe. Let her know that, yep, we're going to be here and see how you do, kid. And give her that little moral support because she's a little bit stage shy, So, but she'll get over that. Like I told her, just talk to them like you're talking to a good friend. And they'll respond by being your friend. So, like I said, bless you, Nikki. I'm glad you did it. And I'm glad you won because you sure have blessed my little life by knowing more about you and your family and what you guys do. And thank you. Thank you very much for sharing all that. And like I said, get out there and share that with the folks. They'll love it. So, upcoming video, it's kind of like cattle auctions 101 and giving you some general information about how cattle auctions works and why you need to know how they work. Because a lot of folks don't really understand that too well. So we're going to educate you a little bit. So here we go. Homestead, how the heck are you? Hey, today we're going to talk a little bit about cattle. We've had a few folks who, by the comments, I could tell, it wasn't like they were being dumb. There was some confusion about how cattle and auctions work at a cattle auction. So I'm going to try to explain it some for you. The USDA has lists out there of the auctions and what their prices are. Okay? Some folks look at that as, oh, that's the price of cattle. No, it's a, kind of a guideline. It's not a set price. Okay? Because here's the way it works. Okay? If a guy goes into an auction, and if you look at several auctions, or look at auction results from different states, different regions of the same state, you will see pretty wild fluctuations in what's being paid. You will see wild fluctuations in what's being paid from, the same auction, from auction to auction to auction. And here's what that's all about. Let's say I'm looking for a group of cattle. Okay, I'm needing some heifers. I want to pick up a bunch of heifer calves. And I go to the auction, trailer in tow, ready to buy something. I'm going to try to bid and buy every heifer I can see there, up to whatever cash I got in my pocket. So I'm going to be bidding a little high. Okay? I'm not going to be real selective about holding the line on the price as much. I mean, don't get stupid. People do get stupid. They get caught up in that auction mentality and all of a sudden pay too much for their livestock. Don't do that. Have a pretty fixed price in your head. But some people get caught up in the auction mentality and others were like, I've got to fill that trailer no matter what mentality. And all of a sudden you'll see, wow, look at the price of heifers. Weaned heifer calves are selling for this. Yeah. That day, that time, because the right buyers were sitting there, when that auction took place. That's all that means. Okay? So you could load up every heifer you had on your place, run them down to the auction next week, and walk away shaking your head when you see your check. Going, what the heck? Because what ends up happening is that your cattle hit there at the time when that auction, all right, you didn't have anybody wanting to fill a trailer. They were select buying. If your stock looked good enough and they didn't have a lot of competition in the bidding, they're going to try to get it at bargain basement price. And that's why you see this in these markets. Whenever I'm trying to get an average of what, if I'm selling some livestock outright, I go out and I take a look at 3 of the major auctions in this area, and their prices will vary. Same day, they'll vary because usually the guys that are doing the heavy buying attend one auction that day. And like some of them here, there's like one's on a Tuesday, one's on a Thursday, so they might hit it a little bit. But it is no sign that cattle prices are changing, right? And as you're reading those reports, you're going to see it listed out of like steers. They'll have a category for steers. It'll be, the 350 to 500 pound brought X number of dollars. 500 pound to 600 pound brought this, and it's broke out by weight then, and also by body condition. Okay. Then you move on to bulls, open heifers, bred heifers or bred cows, so on down the list until you get to the very bottom. And you'll find a cat classification in these reports usually titled slaughter cows. Okay. So when I'm talking about figuring your costs in for your cattle operation, you have to figure in, I'm going to sell this cow at the end of her breeding life, and this money needs to come off of her cost. Slaughter cow prices will vary on, because there's really only one group out there buying these. Seriously. And the good news is it's your fast food places. Yeah. Some processors, but mainly the buyers for fast food industry. The processors that handle that. And they're looking for these old cows, blah, blah, blah. And you'll watch the price vary depending on if there's buyers there or not. Okay? From 75 cents a pound up to $1.24, $1.25 a pound. Slaughter cows always sell cheap. Now, you've got more weight, which helps the price out some. But still, it's fairly low price. And reasonably so. That cow has no further purpose other than to be some pretty tough meat. That's it. They're no longer breeding. Their usefulness on a functioning farm has now ended. So it's time to move them along. But yeah, when you're looking at cattle prices, go out, I'm going to get this much money out of my old girl when she quits breeding. You better get to the bottom of that page and look for the slaughter cow prices, because usually it's fairly substantially reduced from on up the page. And all of the different categories have it, even the heifers and the bred cows, they're broke out by weight and body condition, blah, 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 and what it's offering. And they'll have a range in there. It'll be like low, high, and average. Okay. And a lot of times that can spread out quite a ways. You may see where some sold for $2 a pound, but yet the average was, $1.30. The reason for that is some known farmer or breeder or producer, okay, showed up that day and they saw that his cows were in that auction and he had a good reputation. Okay. That means a lot. That his cows were in prime shape. And people go there knowing that you're putting those up to buy your cows. That gives you that high range. They're willing to spend more because you raised them. Okay, that's where quality counts. But also, at the same time, a lot of producers like that do not use the auctions unless they're needing to move a lot of cattle real quick. 9 times out of 10, it's direct farm to farm sales. That's where they're going to make their most money because they're going to use the last auction price as the basis of, I won't go any lower than this when we negotiate. Okay? Because I can take them to auction and probably get high range out of them, and I'm not going to go less than that. Because then you just dump them all at once and get your check instead of dealing with, I'll take 5. You know? So, but that's how the auctions work. Don't ever think looking at auction results that is the price of cattle even the next day. It doesn't happen that way. And there's a lot of variables. And unless you're pretty skilled and if you're thinking about getting into cattle and making money from cattle, that's the first place you need to start. You need to start going to these auctions. Take a look at these cows. You know, you'll have 3 different really categories of bidding going on there. The high, the and the lows, really too. And then they come up with an average. But pay attention. All right? And understand that those prices are from that group of buyers that were in there that day. The demand changes daily. All right, you might look, like I said, look and see, oh boy, I can make a lot of money here running cattle in there and not make squat. You'll end up getting below last auction's low price. Yeah, and you get to pay a commission on that as a favor to the auction. So keep them kind of things in mind. Get very familiar with the auctions. Know how they work. Understand. You know, it's kind of like if you have 2 days of, let's say, Macy's stores sales figures. And one day a multimillionaire lady goes in there to redecorate her house. Okay? They're going to have a good day. And the next day, there's no millionaires walking through the door. Matter of fact, that may be the poor folk day out shopping. And they're going to not have such a good day. That's the way it works. It's what buyer walks through that door at that auction. So never assume. Okay. But if you watch it, keep an eyeball on the auctions and things of this nature, you're going to find out that there's an average. And if you calculate that average out, watch your auctions and average those auction averages out, you'll have a pretty good idea of what the baseline for cattle is. Okay. Do that way. Like I said, if you're starting out in this, the first thing I'd strongly recommend is to get in there and start going to the auctions where you can physically lay an eyeball on those animals, and you'll talk to other people at the auction and just ask them, why did you bid so much money on that steer, that heifer, or whatever, that bull? And they'll tell you, so-and-so raised that. And he's got a quality genetic line going, and they're good cattle. He's learned that from experience. Okay? And that's why he bid high. You know? And that's when you start, if you're going to be doing much buying, going out there. There's also something to understand. You know, if you'll look at most of the auction reports, you'll see most steers are in the 800, 900 pound category. That's about as high as weight as you see them going for. Now and again, you'll see some bigger ones. And there's a reason for this, folks. If a guy's running a stocker grower feedlot kind of operation, he's looking for steers that he can bring in, corral them up, feed them up, put some weight on them, and turn around and sell them for a profit. Okay. If you go in there with a pretty much full grown steer, you're going to lose that part of the market. And there's a big market for the steers. They're going to back away because they're going to look at a 1,200 pound steer. I'm not going to make any money off of feeding down. You know, I'm going to maybe put another 100 pounds on him, and that's just not worth hauling him around. Keep your options open. You want that to be an attractive sale to the number one buyer of steers, and that's the feedlots and the stocker grower operations. Okay? So you want to know how those auctions work, okay? Because otherwise, you'll really mess yourself up. Because if you start, like I said, with steers, you start throwing those steers out there fully grown, there's nobody wanting a fully grown steer unless they're in there buying one steer to, send off to the processor. And the fast food industry is not interested in those. Why? They can get slaughtered cows cheaper. It's just the way it works. Okay. The important part is know how the auctions work. Understand that is no fixed price. These are commodities. Okay. Right now in this area, pork is selling for about 40 cents a pound. Okay. You're finding that guys that have been growing out pigs aren't right now. They're looking at, I can't sell these things for what I'm putting out. There's a glut in the market. So keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons you want to know what are these commodity prices doing. And they change rapidly. Okay. You just might get lucky. I can't tell you the number of times guys have come back where they ran a bunch of cattle into the market and then come back with their check and just be doing handsprings because it was a lot more than what they thought. The right buyer was there. Yeah, that's all it meant. The right buyer was there. You could turn around and load up another trailer full of them, go back there and lose your shirt. So understand. I can't tell you the number of people I've had go, well, you can make more money this way. No, you can't. Okay. Because what ends up happening is, like I said, with the steers, you don't want to grow them out much over 900 pounds if you're planning on selling them, because that leaves a margin that a feedlot or a stocker grower operation can make money off of that cow. So it's attractive to them. They'll pay a little more for it. Okay. Bring them a full grown steer, they're not even going to bid on it. See what I'm saying? Unless they're sitting there going, okay, well, nobody's bidding on it. I can buy it way under market and maybe turn a few bucks. They might give it a shot. Keep that stuff in mind. Then you get into your specialty breeders. Okay, you rarely see a lot of specialty breeders ever using an auction. It's just public USDA auction. You will find that they may have an auction at their farm where they can control the reserve and things of this nature on the animal, and things of this nature, or direct farm-to-farm sales. And that's where the money's at, okay? Because once you develop your reputation as a quality breeder and grower, you got good genetics, all this going for you, people begin to notice that, all right? And then they start going, how much you want for that? Right now in Tennessee, calf prices are just cheap. I mean, you can go out and get yourself some deals. Mixed breeds, 120 to 150 bucks a head for a weaned calf. Now, something else to think about. All right. You'll see a lot of 90-day-old weaned calves run through. Look at the research, folks. Know your business. Okay. A calf that's weaned early off of its mother does not perform as well with standard growth as a calf that stayed on its mother till the mother weans it, which is usually about 5 months, sometimes even 6. The fact that you can put that in your documentation that mama was bred back and she kicked the calf off, I didn't pull it off. Most people familiar in the business knows that's going to be a good performing cow, as opposed to the ones that are standing there 90 days old. They're going to not put on weight and grow as well as the one that stayed with mama. Fact. The research is done. It's not an old wives' tale. It's a fact. Okay. The longer that calf's on the mama, the better it does in the rest of its life cycle. That's simple. So when you're in the auctions, you have to look at that. Am I looking at a 90-day-old calf? Or am I looking at a calf that was on mama for the duration until she kicked him off? You know what I'm saying? And you're going to bid high on the one that was on mama longer because you know you're going to end up with a better calf. Try to keep this kind of stuff in mind. The auctions, learn about them. Because, and we do the same thing. I mean, you'll never hear me say cattle are selling for this price. I'll tell you around this or about this or an average. It's from what I'm seeing out of the auction results. There is no fixed price. It's a commodity. It changes by the minute. Seriously. Changes by area. It changes by regions. It changes by state to state. Some states and some guys do that. I know some guys here that grow and raise their cattle in the state of Tennessee and then head out to Nebraska and Wyoming and Dakota to sell their cattle because it's higher market. Or they're going to wherever the highest market is when they see a consistent price holding. Make more money. Yeah, but there you got to really watch what you're doing because you're looking at transport costs and all this that can get pretty high. So you have to know that you can transport them halfway across the country and still make money off of them. So that's the way the auctions work. Never think that that's a set in stone. Here's what we're getting. Look, last week they were selling for this. Like I said, last week they had a buyer walk through the door. That's probably what you're looking at, especially if it jumped up real high real quick. All right. Don't get fooled by it. If you're going to get into cattle, get into auctions, because until you know how those auctions work and what those USDA figures are really talking about, you're going to get yourself burned. That simple. All right. I have seen prices where 1 week, man, a good steer would bring, $1.50 and turn around 2 days later and that same steer wouldn't have brought you $1.25. It just depends on who's there. Be careful with steers when they start getting too big. I usually like, if I'm going to sell a steer, I like to sell them off no larger than about 800 pounds. There's a bigger demand for them at an auction. Okay. And when you think about it, you're going to get more per pound out of him, even though he has less pounds on him. And sometimes when you do the calculations, you go, I would have lost money on that cow letting them stay out longer. But there again, you have to know your prices. There's sometimes you'll make more money hanging on to them, letting them grow out a little bigger because the prices aren't there. So learn about the auctions. Okay. First step, if you're really wanting to, I want to raise cattle, that's the first thing you want to do. Understand the auctions, understand the markets, because you're not starting out with, as a new into the business, you're not starting out with a reputation as like a quality breeder, or, so forth. That you have a good genetics in your commercial herd. It takes time to build that reputation. All right. Once you get it, you can get higher prices at the auctions, and you can also get away from the auctions. I don't like auctions. And let me tell you in this last couple of minutes here why. You have cattle coming in there from all over. Some of them sick. Some of them sick with contagious diseases. Okay? You don't want to put your cattle in there. Most of the holding pens and so forth on these auctions, while they're not appalling, not really good. And the stress that it causes on the cattle is phenomenal. Okay? So if I can sell to a farm direct, I'm going to, 1, make more money. 2, the cattle is going to be under a lot less stress and also less likely to be sick. Now, I know a lot of you go, I sold it. Why do I care if it gets sick? Shame on you. You raised them. You should be caring about them to some degree. All right. This is Rick Tennessee Homestead. Y'all have a great day. Like I said, if you're looking to get into cattle, make sure you get in and learn about the auctions and how they work and the different categories in the auctions. You can read one of those USDA auction reports from your local auction and go, what are they talking about? Go find out. Know that you know. And then you're prepared to make smart decisions about what happens. And always, 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 always monitor your costs. You bought a farm, that's a cost. You have infrastructure, that's a cost, even though that gets figured out long term. And when pricing out calves, if you're running a cow-calf operation, I always use the magic 10, okay, to know that I'm looking at spreading my cost, my investments, over her 10-year birthing rate. Now keep in mind, the first year, if you're raising that cow up from a calf, you have a longer time frame before she goes into production. But once she goes into production, then the cost figures really start to drop on it. So you spread out the total cost on that cow for that entire production season. Okay? Don't just look at the first year. If you look at the first year, it'll scare the heck out of you. Because it's like, hey, I'll make a dime. And you won't. Too many months. On average, 30. You're feeding, you carry, you're taking care of that animal. 30 months. You don't get that much money out of that calf. But if you take all that time and stretch it out over a 10, 11 year period, you do okay. You just have to know what your costs are per calf when you look at the big picture. All right? And if you do that, you're all right. You'll do fine. Cattle are not a short-term investment, folks. Keep that in mind. Okay? It's a very long-term investment. When you get in, you got to stay in, or you're not going to make any money. All right. Have a great day. Hope this clarified some things, and if you're interested in cattle, get to the auctions. Make yourself a master of what you're looking at there, because otherwise it's going to confuse the snot out of you. All right? Have a great day. Talk to you later.